The best mirrorless camera is the one that works for you. We've tested a huge range of mirrorless cameras, and one thing is clear: there's no one-size-fits-all answer. That's why our roundup reflects the variety of the mirrorless market, from entry-level stills cameras to flagship hybrids. In putting it together, we've tried to include a top pick for every type of photographer, whatever your skill level and budget. If we had to select an overall winner from our in-depth testing, we'd choose the Nikon Z6 III. It is a mid-range full-frame hybrid with powerful 6K video features, a gorgeous EVF, blistering burst shooting speeds, precise subject detection autofocus, and Nikon's proven rugged design. Then again, it might be more or less than you need. We have listed the best mirrorless cameras 2024, and their key features. You need to consider this to help you choose the best one for you. For more information on the product, as always, I've included a link in the description box down below, which are updated with the best prices on each product. Like the video, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Be sure to stay tuned till the end so you don't miss anything. Now let's get started. Number 6. Fujifilm X-T5 for travel. When Fujifilm released the X-T5 on November 25th, 2022, I was one of the first in the queue as I wanted to experience a high-megapixel APS-C sensor. This was simply not gas, as I had only months earlier purchased an X-T4, which was comfortably doing everything I needed. However, 40 megapixels for landscapes in such a compact and stylish design, I simply needed to see what it could do, and more to the point, could do what I needed for my photography. Fast forward 429 days later, has it been able to do everything? Cameras can do almost anything these days, and yet we are drawn for whatever reason to certain manufacturers. This could be because of the lens choice, the format, the resolution, the familiarity, the list goes on. Ultimately, we settle down and see past all the bells and whistles and concentrate on the tool. In this case, a camera, and does it do everything we need for our photography? I won't focus on the specs of the camera, as you can read more about them here, along with some insightful reviews on X-mount lenses from Andrzej Wacek and Pete Coco's long-term review of the X-T5 here. I'll simply provide my opinion on the camera for the type of work I do, which is mainly landscape photography. For landscape photography, fast focus is not a requirement in most situations, but returning sharp images is. However, the camera with my lens kit was able to do that better than I had thought. This was expected, yet naively I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. It performed better than the previous X-T3 and X-T4, not only in image quality but also in post-production, where I could extract more detail and, of course, crop in when I wanted without losing too much pixel information, yet still provide a very pleasant outcome and file size for various uses. Number 5. Canon EOS R10, best value. Canon's EOS R10 brings a sub-$1,000 entry-level 24mm APS-C camera to its mirrorless RF lineup, hoping to entice a new generation of photographers and videographers to ditch the smartphone in favor of greater creative control over exposure, focal lengths, and burst rates in their image making. The R10 is for the weekend traveler who wants a throw in the bag and it just works camera, the family gatherings documentarian who wants to be ready for the video of their kids playing in the park, as well as the family portrait with the grandparents, the vlogger who wants to create selfies and videos at arm's length, and the beginner who wants to start learning with manual controls. The EOS R10 is available body only for a recommended selling price of $979. Kit options include bundles with the compact, collapsible 18 to 45mm f4.5 6.3, eyes STM for $1099, or with the 18 to 150mm f3.5 6.3, eyes STM for around $1379. Canon says the sensor is a new chip it's never used before, but has not given any details of how it's changed. We know of instances in the past where Canon has squeezed a bit more out of an existing design by moving to a new production line that uses a finer process scale, higher precision fabrication of the circuitry, but we'll have to wait to see how the sensor works in practice. Number 4. Panasonic Lumix S50 for filmmakers. The Panasonic Lumix DC-S53 is the company's latest version of its mid-range full-frame stills and video mirrorless camera. It adds phase detection autofocus to its 24mm CMOS sensor and uses the L mount shared with Leica and Sigma. The biggest news is the inclusion of on-sensor phase detection, a technology Panasonic has not previously used. Phase detection works by generating two views of the scene from slightly different perspectives, typically by forming separate images that look through the left and right sides of the lens, and comparing them. Just as with human vision, which uses two eyes set apart from one another, this enables the camera to establish an understanding of distance and depth in the scene. Comparing the two images lets the camera calculate how far it needs to drive focus to bring the two perspectives into alignment, at which point the aligned subject is in focus. This is especially valuable in video mode, as it allows the camera to refocus to a different distance without overshooting. It also, critically, means the camera can check that it's still in focus without having to move the lens. This means phase detection can be decisive in situations where it must hold focus, as it can confidently stay there. Previous Panasonic models relied on the company's depth from defocus (DFD) system, which used the out-of-focus characteristics of a lens to interpret depth and drive the AF system. DFD's main shortcoming was reliably predicting movement and driving the AF system to match. In principle, phase detect autofocus should provide more reliable performance, particularly in low light levels and backlit conditions and when dealing with multiple subjects, staying locked on your chosen subject better because it knows which one in the scene it is. Number 3. Canon EOS R6 Mark II for content creators. The Canon EOS R6 II is a 24mm full-frame camera aimed at enthusiast photographers and video shooters. It may look identical to its predecessor on the outside, but it gains useful new features for stills and video while providing a refined shooting experience. The headline new feature of the R6 II is a new 24.2mm full-frame sensor, up from 24mm in the original R6. That's not a massive increase in effective resolution, but it does allow the R6 II to match the resolution of many popular enthusiast cameras. As is typical for EOS bodies, the new sensor is designed and manufactured by Canon. However, despite being the same size and resolution as the sensor in Canon's current flagship, the R3, it's neither a BSI nor a stacked sensor. Despite this, Canon says rolling shutter performance is still improved relative to the sensor in the R6. It's capable of burst rates up to 40 FPS with the electronic shutter, though the camera drops to 12-bit readout to achieve this. The original R6 could capture UHD 4K 60p video, but with a couple of limitations. It forced a slight crop, 1.07x, from the full width of the sensor, and video in all modes was capped at 30 minutes per clip. The new model improves in both areas, while adding some exciting new features. Number 2. Nikon Z8 Premium. The Nikon Z8 is a mid-sized high-end full-frame mirrorless camera built around the same sensor and processor as the range-topping Z9 sports camera. The Z8 offers the majority of the same features, but in a smaller body. In almost every respect, the Z8 is a match for the Z9, with essentially all the larger camera's features and capabilities duplicated in a smaller body. At the heart of it all is the same 45. 7-megapixel stacked CML sensor that has parallel readout paths, one for images or video and another to provide the viewfinder feed with minimal lag. This means it can match the Z9's 20 FPS shooting rate with RAW and its 30 FPS full frame, JAR 60 FPS APS-C, 120 FPS 11 nettopi JPEG shooting modes. The Z8 also provides the option to shoot 10-bit HEIF files, alongside RAW if you wish, if you opt to capture HDR images using the HLG curve. The Z8 also offers the pre-burst option that lets it start capturing images when the shutter is half pressed, then record up to a second's worth of images when you fully press the shutter. This is available in the 30, 60, and 120 FPS JPEG modes. We're told the Z8 has the same buffer as the Z9, meaning it can record more than 1000 JPEGs or HE compressed RAWs at 20 FPS. 685 of the less compressed HE RAWs can be captured in a burst, or 79 of the losslessly compressed RAWs files. Like the Z9, with its fast 1:80 sec readout, the Z8 has no mechanical shutter. It does have a shutter shield mechanism that can be set to close when the camera is off, though, to prevent dust ingress when you change lenses. Number 1. Sony Alpha 7 IV Best 2024 Model. The Sony A7 IV is the best hybrid mirrorless camera you can buy right now. A truly modern all-rounder that largely justifies its price tag, it packs class-leading autofocus, impressive image quality, and powerful video features into one versatile body. Dedicated street or sports photographers should look elsewhere. And it isn't the fastest shooter in its class. But for everyone else, the A7 IV is a rock-solid all-rounder with few glaring weaknesses. It might be the only camera you ever need. History would tell us that the Sony A7 IV, announced in October 2021, could be updated with a 5th-gen model at the end of 2024. Sony's typical 3-year product cycle for this line of mirrorless camera. Of course, we don't know that for sure, and until a potential successor comes, the A7 IV remains one of the best mirrorless cameras around for the money. Leading retailers are selling the A7 and i4 for closer to $2,000, AU $30,500. And for that price, you're still getting superb autofocus performance. Although the pricier Sony A7 RV stepped things up with an AI autofocus chip and improved subject detection. You're also getting a lovely blend of photo and video skills. 33 megapixel stills versus the typical 24 megapixel in rival models still be launched today, plus an accomplished 4K video performance, even if there's better elsewhere. If you love photography and video, then the A7IV offers excellent bang for buck. The rest of this review remains as previously published.